Hey everyone, welcome to our show for tonight. I'll just make sure the music's turned off. There's something wrong with my speakers, but I think it's off now. Okay, well, I'm Tom, this is Riz. Welcome to tonight's show, Wednesday the 18th of December 2024. This is actually our last show before Christmas. Believe it or not, what a year it's been. And yeah, Riz, how are you this evening?
Yeah, good. Massive year, Tom. Can't believe it's nearly Christmas, and here we are again.
I know, right? So much has happened, and so much more to happen as well in 2025. But yeah, thanks so much for everyone for joining us this year. It's been fantastic. We've got one more show this year, so don't worry, this won't be the last one before the end of the year. I've got another one with me and Riz, and yeah, stay tuned till the end. We'll announce when that will be before the year is out. Before we kick off, let's say thank you as always to our sponsors. That is Carloop. Thank you, Riz. Data to empower Australia's EV revolution. And Hankook Driving Emotion. And speaking of Hankook, we've got our promotion going on with Hankook Ion EV Tyres. Buy three, get one free. Honestly, won't get a better deal than that, I reckon, with tyres these days. All you need to do is mention Ludicrous Feed at any Jack's outlet in Australia, and you will get that very good special there. Buy three, get one free. Valid until New Year's Eve 2024. Any issues, send me an email. We'll sort it out for you. Thank you, Hankook, for that fantastic deal. All right, Riz. Well, we didn't have you last week. We missed you, but we had the fabulous Roland from Zap.au fill in for you, and we had a great time. But I think you had a better time in wherever you were last week. Tell us all about that.
Look, first of all, Roland, thank you for joining. It's always good. It was actually really good to see Roland again at the Xpeng launch. For anyone that's interested, check out Roland's video as well as Tom's video on that event, which happened on Monday. So yeah, pretty good. So thanks, Roland, for all your insights.
Yeah, let's kick off with that, actually. Well, since got some photos there from that Monday night. Me, Riz, and Roland, and a few others celebrated Xpeng's grand opening of the flagship store in Sydney. What do you think of the location, Riz, right at Sydney Airport there?
Look, for someone that's from Melbourne, it's the most convenient thing. After that event, took me 7 minutes to get to the terminal. So it's some of our viewers are quite familiar with that because I've done live streams from Sydney Airport before. So yeah, great location. I think this is probably one of the most iconic sites around the country for a dealership.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when you tell people when you ask people about Xpeng and tell them about the new location, all you need to say is the old AMG showroom or dealership at the airport, and straight away most people will say, "Oh yes, I know where that was or used to be." Now, admittedly, Mercedes has not been there for a few years, but it's stuck in people's mind. And if nothing else for Xpeng, it's brand awareness in Sydney.
It is, and Tom, I have to say, before the event started, Mercedes was very close to that dealership. Now, across that, sorry, let me rephrase that. It's called the Xpeng Flagship Experience Center. Across the road from that experience center is a huge billboard, and it had a Mercedes GLC on there. But as the evening began and the ribbon was cut, there were people replacing that billboard with a Kia Tasman. So Mercedes was there. They got kicked out, and now Kia takes over, basically looks over this Xpeng showroom. So if you're there, check out that big billboard across the road. It should say the Kia Tasman on there, which I also heard that there's potentially a fully electric version coming out in the next year or two.
Oh, how exciting! Yeah, actually, if you watch my video, you'll see the Tasman Ute advertising billboard from the top level too. So check that one out. Yeah, yeah, good to see a Tasman EV version of that Ute. That'd be fantastic. Riz, before we find out where you were actually last week, well, let's say hello to some of our regulars who have joined us this evening for our very last show before Christmas this year. So hello, Tassie, nice to see you from Hobart as always. Hello, Lewis from Brisbane. Hello, Jason. Where in the world was Riz Akhtar? We'll find that out very shortly. Hello, SWS. Looks like might be raining in Brisbane there. Stay safe, everyone up there. Hello, Paul from Central Coast. Hello, Mark. Hello, Jason. He says Riz is back. Yes, he sure is. Hello, Rob S. from Surf Coast, Victoria. Hey. Bells Beach, I think, Surf Coast. Rob S says Hollywood Riz. We don't call you Hollywood Riz for no reason, Riz. There's a reason for that. Hello, Justin. Hollywood is back. Riz found his passport. Yes, yes, yes. People asking about your
I
trip.
did.
And hello, Scott. Planning a trip to the Sunshine Coast from Sydney on Saturday. Yeah, can't wait to do my third multi-charge trip. Fantastic. Hopefully, you have a great trip.
Ooh.
Tassie Evie says, "Is that a 7-minute walk to the terminal or via an Uber?" Good question.
Walk. That's familiar with the Sydney Airport precinct. You can actually walk to some of the hotels that are around the airport, and it's about 5 to 7 minutes walk. You go past the Uber stand where Ubers come to pick you up, and yeah, it's literally 7 minutes walk.
Yeah, I can attest to that. Being a Sydney sider, it'll take you
Yeah,
longer to get an Uber from the location to the airport for sure. It is very close to the airport. In fact, it's actually on Sydney Airport land, believe it or not. So that in itself comes with its own challenges, installing EV chargers and things like that on site. So interesting times ahead for Xpeng. Thank you, Jason, for the 5 Ludicrous Feed memberships. Much appreciated. Thank you. All right, Riz, let's put our audience out of their misery. Let's find out exactly where you were last week. Tell us all about where you were.
So, I was in China again, this time with Zeekr, and they held their first KOL day. So KOL basically is what they call what Chinese refer to as I think it's called knowledgeable online leader, which roughly translates into some sort of an influencer, which I'm definitely not. Tom, our host, definitely is, but
Nice.
that's so that was what they had. They wanted to showcase not only the Zeekr X and Zeekr 009, which is currently available in Australia, but also the rest of their lineup, which is the Zeekr 001. Anyone that's interested, check out Tom's videos from the trip in June. Quite an impressive car. Zeekr 007, which is also a very cool sedan. Zeekr 7X, which we have heard is coming to Australia next year. There's a picture of that on the track there. And as well as a very special car, which Zeekr unveiled in April at the Beijing Auto Show, the Zeekr Mix, which I think you could sort of get a glimpse of it in that last shot behind the Zeekr X.
Yep.
So that's where I was, as that sign says, at Ningbo International Speedway. Co-pilots to the future is what they're sort of really going for. That they want to look into the future, bring the innovation to EV drivers all around the world. And yeah, that's sort of what one of the days we were at the Ningbo International Speedway, which was pretty awesome. Got to test drive the 7X, everything else, and they had some bent cars that you could do some benchmark testing with.
Oh.
Now, that is a Model S Plaid, and built in US, I think relatively new to China, been there for about 18 months or so, and they had that as one of the benchmark cars, along with that Porsche Panamera, and they also had a BMW X5 long wheelbase to do a bit of benchmark testing with the Zeekr 7X.
Fantastic, yeah, and having been on the track myself, it's a fantastic purpose-built track just to test Geely vehicles. And did the 7X meet your expectations, Riz? Did it perform well?
Dynamically and engineering-wise, it's a fantastic car. Zeekr seems to do that very well. They must have, because Geely Holdings that owns Zeekr also owns Lotus, which is known for handling and engineering and sports cars. So I think they're sort of getting quite a bit of experience from there. Interestingly enough, we also visited the factory where they make the Zeekr 7X, which is also located in Ningbo. And at the factory, we got to speak to one of the engineers who mainly deals with dynamic handling. And one of the things he touched on was it's not just the Lotus side of the business that has had input into what this car, how the way this car drives and how it handles dynamically, but also they've had Porsche do some evaluation testing and give feedback on where this car can improve, and they've incorporated a lot of those learnings into this car. So dynamically it drives well. Features wise, it blows your mind as to what's inside. There is just so much, and everything just feels so premium. This it would be if I was BMW or Mercedes and I had a SUV, I'd be very worried at how much this car packs. Some of the features we may not get in Australia due to Australian design rules, such as the Stargate dynamic lighting at the front of the car. It even has a airport sort of, well, not so much airport, but more like a plane where you've got a tray table in the rear with a fold out, basically like an iPad screen that folds out when you open this tray table. Really sort of think of this car as something an executive would be driven around in. But in Australia, we do a lot of driving ourselves. So I think we will probably not get the tray table or the screen. But it does everything really well at the front and at the rear, regardless of wherever you are.
Now, we've all seen the Zeekr 001 and 007. Well, not all, but a lot of us have seen this car in the Sydney Auto Show recently. Some of us have also seen the 009 as well. Is it on the same level of comfort and luxury and premium details with the 7X?
What was the last bit, Tom? I missed that one.
Oh, so having seen the 001, the 007, the 009, they're all pretty premium from what we've seen at the auto shows in Sydney. Is the 7X at the same level of comfort, luxury, premiumness?
I think it is. It's one step, I guess, above, in my opinion, the Zeekr X. And that's just where this car is playing in. But then at the same time, compared to, we've seen what the Mercedes products are like in this EV range. This car, where I think it may come price-wise, Mercedes does not have an offering. At that price point, you'd likely get a car that's twice as plushy as what a Mercedes would be.
Big call, yeah, big call. Having sat in the EQE, that's like their premium product, Mercedes, and that's quite an expensive vehicle. Yeah, this is going to be very good for the market. Are we talking like Model Y pricing, or is it going to be slightly higher than that, do you think?
I'd say it would be, given what's inside and the choice of materials and functionality and everything else, I'd say this is more in the $75,000 to $80,000 starting price. But for that money, if you're comparing what the competitors have, it's a lot of car.
Okay, so potentially playing with the same space as like Polestar, maybe that kind of level. That's what Geely's aiming for. Yep. Okay. All right. So not quite the same price range as say the Xpeng or the BYD Sealion 7 potentially, D-PAL, those kind of things.
Yeah.
This is slightly higher, but as you can see from the pic and judging from Riz's subscriptions and from what I've personally seen in China as well, I think the price could be justified. So I'll be curious to see what the sales numbers and figures are like, Riz, when they eventually launch in mid 2025? Would you say?
Yeah, pretty much. For anyone that's interested, they've just announced the launch of this car in Europe, and I think the German pricing is around about 52,000 euros, which is about 5 or 6,000 euros above what the Model Y is priced at the moment. But for that, you get a car with a 75 kilowatt hour Geely or Zeekr's golden brick battery that can charge at speeds of, I believe, up to 480 kilowatts. So 10 to 80% in 13 minutes is what this car is aiming for at a base price vehicle that they have. And you'll get, I think, a lot of kit. So interesting to see what happens, but Europe gives us a bit of a North Star to look at.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? If it's only slightly more expensive than the Y, it's certainly very compelling. And that charging speed, Riz, if we can get those chargers here in Australia, I'll touch on that a bit later on as to the kind of chargers we need in this country to support that 5.5C golden brick battery charging speeds. Suddenly 10 minutes is the same as petrol stop on a busy day, right? It's not enough time to go to the bathroom almost. That's super quick. Did you get to see any of that charging speed in action?
No, not at this trip, but what I do have to share, possibly is exclusive so far in Australia.
Oh,
Zeekr has strongly hinted at Zeekr Power, their fast charging network, at heading into international markets like ours very soon.
okay, that is exciting. Okay, if that's a game changer in my opinion. If they can set up their own network, a bit like Tesla, obviously, because no other player has done that yet. No other OEM has done that in this country. If Zeekr can do that, suddenly that value proposition is better than a lot of the other cars in the market. So Zeekr, you have to do this. This is your ticket to trust in Australia. So stay tuned, everyone. Thanks, Riz. Great recap. Much appreciated. And yeah, I'm very envious. I didn't get a chance to go. I mean, I was invited, but life admin, unfortunately, back home, had to do a few things. But yeah, I'd be very keen to go back and see what else is on offer, either from Zeekr or someone else, to see what else is on the market next year. So thanks, Riz, for that recap. And let's take some comments now. So we've got, we say thank you to Jason for the memberships. Thank you very much. Thanks, Jason. And what have we got here? Yes, almost holiday time. Yes, Tazia was invited, just couldn't make it, unfortunately. So apologies to Zeekr. SWS says, come on, Riz, you've been influencing us all. Yeah, correct. He's very humble. He's like a mega influencer in this space. Please, Riz. Mark says, I like the 7X. Me too. Paul says, I think we worked out last week that Riz was driving his Spectre around Dubai. That's what was one of the one of the questions we asked last week with Roland. Where is Riz?
Look, Dubai, I have to share this particular trip. We did have some media friends from Dubai there, and Zeekr is obviously looking into that market as well. So a lot of what Zeekr, I think, is planning on doing is hit up quite a few markets at the same time, with a global product like the Zeekr X and Zeekr 7X coming up. So interesting times. I was not in Dubai. I did not get close to a Spectre. But, I was still very happy to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Justin says Riz needs his own penthouse at Ningbo. I agree. Party at Riz's place afterward. No idea when 7X is available yet, Andrew, about orders in Australia. And Oscreamer says they've announced a review into ADRs to streamline it to worldwide standards. Okay, that'd be good. Get cars sooner here, that'd be nice. Yes, and we did touch on that. Thanks, Oscreamer. 7X announced for Europe. Dimensions a little smaller than China. Interesting. And good question about dealer support from Zeekr in non-capital cities. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately that's a issue, not just with Zeekr, but a lot of the brands struggling with that, of course, supporting our big country that we have here. Aaron, I agree. Need another another OEM to build out a charging network. Yes, very true. And yes, live admin is annoying, but it's got to be done, unfortunately. Good suggestion, Andrew. What is required for a manufacturer to have their EV approved for V2X? Well, maybe someone from ADR can come on the show and we can talk to them about that. Good stuff. All right. Well, speaking of car spotting, we've got Riz and I were at the Xpeng launch on Monday, but the Xpeng X9, which was at the showroom and probably still is, spotted in Sydney earlier this week. So there we go. That's what it looks like. It's a pretty plush vehicle, Riz. The Zeekr X9, the Xpeng X9, hey?
Very much so. I mean, it was at the showroom. So anyone that's interested that hasn't seen it at any of the EV shows in Melbourne and Sydney, you will be able to check it out from, I think, today. Yeah, 18th.
Yep.
So that showroom's now open to the public. So do check it out. Very nice. Got a big screen in the back that folds out. I think, this could be the s- luxury people movers of the that are likely to come in 2025. For anyone that's in Sydney, though, Zeekr at Parramatta, I think, has the 009 people mover that you can go and test rides in, possibly even test drives. So that, in my opinion, is the benchmark for luxury people movers. And the Xpeng X9 is close. Either of those vehicles are fantastic. We haven't seen anything like them before. So yeah, check both of them out.
I think honestly the X9 for me looks better from the outside, particularly the front. It's a bit more looks more like a car almost. Whereas the 009 I think has a plusher interior from the difference I've seen between the two now. The outside looks very much like a like a big people mover, but this one the X9 looks more like a car shape. But interior wise, I think the Zeekr 009 just pips it. Not to say this one isn't great either. This one is really comfy, as Riz said, on the inside. Thank you for that, Terry, for tagging us. Now, speaking of Roland, we've got Roland on the case with ADRs. So, BYD Sealion 7 now approved in Australia as well. Two variants, 230 kilowatt rear-wheel drive, and then also an all-wheel drive with a 160 kilowatt additional motor up the front. Gauging by the weights of these vehicles without any battery specs specifically, it looks like we're going to get the non-beak battery, like the one in the UK, the performance spec is that right? This is going to be like the 82.5 kilowatt hour battery for both variants.
Yeah, that's right. So that's the one that's currently found in the premium BYD Seal premium and performance variants in Australia. 82.5 kilowatt hour, max charging speeds of 150 kilowatt, which is plenty. But I've sort of been covering some of the stuff that's going on in the Thailand market with this car. And yeah, they're not getting the larger battery either. So it's interesting. But at the same time, at least there's progress in this car getting here after BYD released the Sealion 6 way ahead of this particular vehicle, which is a plug-in hybrid. So yeah, can't wait to see this. Indications are that February announcement likely with pricing, and possibly late Q1 or early Q2 deliveries for the Sealion 7.
Yeah, look, even without the performance setup, it's a still pretty impressive all-wheel drive setup here. It is a heavy vehicle, admittedly, so efficiency will come into the question here, I suppose, but it should be still pretty zippy around. And you're right, the Southeast Asian markets, Thailand, Malaysia, is probably going to get the same variants that we are going to get here too, the 82.5 kilowatt hour battery. I wonder why they released the bigger battery in the UK. That's what has got me thinking. Why not here in Australia? That's is it too pricey for our market? Not sure.
Yeah, it is a bit hard to tell. I'm not sure of the exact reasoning, unless it's coming from a special plant for the UK that, where we're sort of getting whatever the Southeast Asian markets are getting. But either way, I think more options are better. One thing worth noting, the tow rating. So the rear-wheel drive only gets 750 kilograms of braked towing. And this is the all-wheel drive one, and that gets 1,500 kilograms, which is just to the left. So, which means the Tesla Model Y, although it's a slightly smaller car and it weighs nearly 300 kilos less, so hence a bit more efficient, even in its base rear-wheel drive, can still has a towing capacity of 1,600 kilos. So something, if I'm not sure if it's just if that's the way things are going to be, or if there's a typo in the ADR approvals, but that's just something worth noting. If towing is important to you, then just make sure you double and triple check the specs of the Sealion 7 if you're planning on getting a rear-wheel drive variant.
That's right. If it's 100 kilograms that matter, then yeah, you should be very careful with what you buy. It's a slightly larger vehicle as well, 4.83 meters in length compared to Model Y 4750. So just that slightly 8 centimeters longer as well. It's got a nice little fastback up the back, so very much like a seal up the front as well. Same design philosophy.
Yes. You've driven this, Tom, right? Last time you were when you went with BYD a couple of months ago. How did
Mm.
you find it?
Oh, I loved it. I think they gave me the performance spec though. I think it was very zippy around that tarmac. Haven't driven it on real roads yet, but yeah, very impressive. Handled very well. Probably this and the Shark 6 actually were my favorites on that track. They both handled very well. The Denza Z9, what was it called? Z9? That the Denza was
Yeah,
very
Z9.
almost too quick for me. It was a little bit harder to handle, but these were just perfect for my skill level anyway. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this on the roads. Yeah, so thanks for that, Roland, for posting that. We'll keep an eye on the release date, of course, and hopefully Riz and I, or one of us, will get to the launch here in Australia next year. Now Roland's on the case again with more ADR. So Kia EV3 also getting ADRs recently. So what have we got? 3 variants: a two-wheel drive, single motor, and then a long-wheel drive, long-range single motor as well, and then a long-range GT line. I think, are we talking front-wheel drive? I'm not sure whether it's front or rear.
I think these are front-wheel drives.
Front-wheel drives. Okay. So presumably same philosophy as the Kia EV5 with maybe the Blade battery as well, produced in China.
Um, I think with this one, I've only heard whispers, and I'm not sure if this is how true it is, but this I think will be made in South Korea,
Ah,
which it's there's good and bad in it. The good is that I think will, I guess for those that are looking for a car made in South Korea, this will be available. The not so good is possibly the pricing is going to be on the upper end because, as we've seen with other Kia and Hyundai vehicles built in South Korea, they are on the pricier end compared to where Kia EV5 sits today. So
mm.
not sure, but just worth keeping an eye on.
Yeah, good point. Interesting though. Look how big the battery is. 81 kilowatt hour battery for a car this small, right? It's got to be a NMC battery if it's constrained in size like that, right? To fit a battery that
Yeah,
big.
it is a little bit mind-boggling as to why you'd go for a battery. And the other part is this is not the same battery as what you find in the 77 kilowatt hour battery pack that I think is in the Kia EV6. And there's also an 84 kilowatt hour battery pack, which the EV6 has, as well as the Ionic 5N. So yeah, not sure what's going on here, but I guess we will find out. It must have incredible range if it's got a battery that big.
Surely, it surely had. You think at least a car this size, it'd have to have 500 k's plus, right? If it's
Yeah.
efficient enough. I mean, it's not the most aerodynamic shape, right? It looks very much like a baby EV9 or EV5. Same philosophy, same boxy look. But yeah, curious to see what it looks like and how it drives on the real roads once the launch happens in Australia. Again, presumably mid 2025 once again.
Hmm.
Um, Hopefully no delays like wheels and software and things that delayed the EV5 in this country. Yes. So Tassie makes a good point here. If it's anything like Germany, then the Nero EV days are numbered once the EV3 is available for sale. You would think that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I guess we'll find out because Kia, I mean, Nero's been around for a couple of years now in the Australian market, and I don't think recently it's performed that well in sales. So yeah, we'll find out. But one thing is this EV3 is not on the EGMP platform as far as I'm aware.
Yep. Yeah, Kia and Hyundai have got a B tier platform. I just always forget the name. It's got a K in there somewhere and an EK3 or something like that. It's not quite the GMP, but for all intents and purposes, when you drive these things, it's like the Hyundai Icona is not quite an EGMP, but it feels very similar when you play with the controls.
Yeah.
Same almost. Okay, let's keep pushing on. One more from Roland, and we'll take a little break with our sponsors. So, Roland also has shown us that the Farizon SV Supervan also has been approved with ADRs as well. So, for those of you who are van fans, that's also coming to Australia as well. There we go.
Now, Farizon, I think from memory let me think. I may get this wrong, but I think they're part of the Geely. Holdings as well. I may be wrong, but they're doing some cool stuff in the van space. So it'd be cool to see something that's a little bit different and doesn't look as boxy as some of the other vehicles that we find in the commercial space.
Yeah, so Farizon is, or Farizon, how you say it, is also from Geely. It's a Geely brand. Yep, correct. Yeah, it's I don't know. I quite like the Staria, to be honest with you. The Staria from Hyundai. So if we get
Yeah,
more
yeah.
futuristic type vans like this, then I'm all for it. Yep, van's a van. Quite boring, really. Not much to look at. But if they've got a bit more design language to it, like this one, then yeah, bring it on. I say. Cool. Thanks, Roland, for all that work. Great to have you contributing as always to the show. All right. At the halfway point, just want to say once again thanks to our sponsors, Carloop. Thank you, Riz, Data to Empower EV's Revolution, Australia's EV Revolution. I'll get that right. And Hankook as well, Driving Emotion. And we will just plug Hankook's deal at the moment. Ion EV Tyres, buy 3 get 1 free. Mention Ludicrous Feed at Jack's Auto nationwide until New Year's Eve to get that buy 3 get 1 free deal, which is a pretty good one at the moment if you need some tyres or if you just need some spare, just keep them in your garage for later on. It's not a bad deal. Okay, let's push on. And what have we got next? We've got EV charging news. So we've got some chargers spotted. Whoops, sorry, not this one. This one. In Parkes, New South Wales, which is in our central west. So what's interesting about this, Riz, and others, is that, check this out, there's actually an AC or a Tesla wall connector on the side here, along with all the V4s.
It's good to see. I'm not sure how many other sites have that. I guess there's a picture of Tenterfield there that
Yep.
also has one in New South Wales recently. Charles and others may know more, but was this some sort of a requirement by the state government in New South Wales? I don't
It
know.
was. It was actually. I remember covering this with David and the team, like last year or year before. With funding, you need to have some AC chargers as backup. So at least Tesla's doing the right thing here, which is great. And this is definitely not for non-Tesla EVs as well. I recognize that sign.
Right.
Mm. You can see the New South Wales funding sign too.
Yeah.
Very rustic, very Aussie with the dirt track or dirt parking spot, not sealed. It's fine as long as the chargers work. I don't care. Honestly, it's great to see. So yeah, if you're traveling out that way during the holidays, you've hopefully got this to be commissioned very soon. So, oh, hang on, no, council just needs to do the car park resurfacing, so you'll get a sealed road as well
Oh,
when it opens. Nice, thank you, Keen on EVs, for sharing that. Yeah, and Sydney EV says more rural and remote locations should have a 3-phase or slower AC chargers as backup. Very true, especially if there's only 1 or 2 fast chargers.
now we have seen this, right? We've seen this in the Queensland Electric Superhighway. We've also seen this with the WA EV network. And I also think from memory, RAA has done the same thing in South Australia as well. So out of, let's just say, some of the major or the larger states, Victoria is the only one that's done nothing. So for any Victorian like me, I think you feel my pain. There is just nothing happening in this state when it comes to EVs or EV charging in a that sort of has those requirements for operators to actually install backup AC chargers.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But although, Riz, when you were away, we did cover a couple of chargers that did open up. Brunswick in Melbourne last week we showed. And I think Epping
Yes.
in Victoria
Yep.
also. A couple of Uptronic chargers coming up. So
And
good to see some
Caroline
new
Springs
ones.
as well. Yeah.
Caroline Springs, yep. So we just need some sort of policy, right, like New South Wales to sort of get these going. All right, let's keep going. Speaking of chargers, we've got more chargers in Victoria. Here we go, Traralgon. More Tesla Superchargers,
Woohoo.
V3s.
Tesla's doing
There you go. 4 chargers, 1,
good
2, 3,
spot.
4.
So this could be one of the last few V3 sites.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame. It'd be better if there was V4, right? The longer cables and well, first of all, there are chargers in Victoria which can be used by all Teslas, all EVs, right? Not just Teslas.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I'm curious as to why they still put V3s in when V4 seems to be like the standard now. Is it cheaper? It must be cheaper to install V3s, or they've got some leftover stock somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's probably leftover stock, and obviously the New South Wales ones, it was one of the, I believe, the funding requirements as well to have longer cables.
Mm. And tap and go credit card facilities. Where's that been? There's still a lot of V4 chargers without tap and go. Disappointing.
Yeah, that's right.
Better for tourists without having to whip open an app. Anyway. All right, here we go. Graham says Victorian government just announced removal of $100 of rego for EVs. Woohoo! That's something. And IMLSD says ChargeFox NG 150 kilowatt times 4 chargers just came online at Harbour Town Shopping Centre in Adelaide. Fantastic. Somebody can tag us on that.
Ooh.
Go and check it out. And we are getting our first NRMA chargers and Elizabethtown. Yes, I think I've got a picture of that as well, so stay tuned. Cool. Also, we got Tenterfield also has an NRMA charger as well for those who can't use the Tesla fast ones. Thanks, Jeanette. That's good. All right, let's keep pushing on. What else have we got here? So we've heard about the Tesla Cybercab. There's also news, rumors and speculation about the smaller Tesla coming in 2025. This is, I think, a concept picture of the supposed Tesla Model 2 or Q, or whatever it is that's going to come. Let's have a look. Yeah, not a bad design. I guess you can call it a smaller Model 3, but more angular at the front here as well. Sawn off the back a little bit. So, yeah, not bad. Not bad.
It's so just for some context, Dominic here, I believe it's a German designer or based in Germany. He clearly passionate about Teslas. A lot of his renders have basically been the exact car. So not so much this car, but actually for the Model 3 Highland Performance and Model 3 Highland, every time there was a leak, he would make adjustments to the renders. And by the end of it, he got it pretty close. So this, obviously, it's using the new Model 3 Highland Performance wheels. It's got a little bit of the front light bar situation going. And it's got the Tesla efficiency sort of design also coming along. So if something like that comes in, potentially with a performance model that is sort of like warm to hot hatch territory for about 55 to 60 grand, that would be a good sweet spot. But obviously we want this car in its base variant to start around 40 to 45 grand.
Yeah, look, if Model 3 is 55, or whatever it is, you would think you'd have to be high 40s. And if this car is 4.2 to 4.4 meters, that for me is my ideal size for a city car that I can drive around myself. And if it handles well, aerodynamic, efficient, charges quickly, man, this is going to be very compelling. So maybe Tesla look at his renders and go, you know what, that's actually better than what we have. So let's just tweak ours a little bit. Not a bad thing. Hey, look at some fan art. I see. Yeah, but will it have side mirrors? Jason, I can see side mirrors there. Good question, though. Yeah, Ray Palmer says, Tesla Model 2 is a Model 3 with only 2 doors. Well, this one's still a 4-door coupe. So we will see what it looks like when if it finally is revealed. I don't know. It's still speculation at this stage, right? Okay, let's keep pushing on. Thanks for that. We talked about fast chargers before with the Zeekr 7X when Riz was in China. The 7X being able to charge at 20 to 80 in 10.5 minutes, 11 minutes, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Something crazy, 400 kilowatts of charging. So we'll need a fast charger to be able to accommodate that kind of speed. And I did cover this in a video of mine as well, thanks to an article from Zeekr. Thanks, Nirav. And we've got Blueberry DC chargers coming to 30 New South Wales Shell service stations. And EV Energy is the supplier. Yeah. So we don't know what the configurations are going to be like, but it looks like if you just have one of these units just dedicated to charging, it'll be 500 kilowatts max, and you can daisy chain them as well. So Riz, this would certainly accommodate 7X charging speed.
Would like to think so. I think that hopefully they're in the ground by the time the 7X arrives, because unfortunately Shell, Viva Energy have been dragging their feet for a long, long time. As far as I know, we don't have, or we've had barely any sites around the country with that Viva Energy has rolled out. So you've got the grant money, get it going. We need it. Even if it's, we'll accept 450 kilowatts as well. So just get something in the ground, but 500 kilowatts is very sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if it's split to 2 times 250s, like a lot of cars can't do 250s anyway, so that honestly would be enough. With load sharing, of course, if you've got one car there, then 500, 2 cars, 250, not a problem. And it makes sense to put them into petrol stations at the moment because they have all the amenities there. They've got shelter, generally reasonable places to sit and have a little break for a comfort stop. So yeah, hopefully we'll see them on Shell service station stops very soon. As Riz says, they're a bit slow in getting them out, but yeah, hopefully by mid next year.
So does this also mean we're going to need another app?
Oh no. Stop. Unfortunately, yes. They just don't like to play with each other, the petrol stations. Tap and go. Where's Tap and Go? Come on.
Where's
Enough of
Chris
these apps.
Bowen? Where's
Come
Chris
on, Chris.
Bowen? Come on, make it happen. This is one of those things, like we were touching earlier in the show about having backup AC chargers. We should have a national code that says this is what needs to happen. And same thing with this. Like, we've got to have tap and charge. Like, we've got to just be able to do that. We shouldn't be expected to download fuel retailer apps, which Ampol started off with Amp Charge.
Oh.
Now you got to download the Ampol app, so you'll be promoted fuel vouchers and other things when that's not why you've downloaded the app for. And they all want to control the customer, but we need the federal government to break that control.
Yep. 100%. Yep. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Every DC charger in the UK that I was at 6 months ago was all tap and go, honestly. It's so much easier for tourism, for even locals that don't want to whip their phone out every time. It's so easy. Tap it, it starts charging. It's that simple. It doesn't have to be that hard. Sure, by all means, have the app for discounts, but it's got to be tap and go, first and foremost. Absolutely. Yeah, get Chris Bowen as a guest. Hey, that's not a bad idea. We'll try and get him on in the new year. Good old Chris. It's so true. Even kids' rides and shopping centers have tap and go. Even the skill tester machines are tap and go. It's so backwards not having tap and go for a simple amenity like chargers. Please. All right. Let's keep going. Non-competitive. Yeah, maybe. Maybe Triple C needs to step in. Yeah, Charles. All right. Charles is on the other side of the fence here. Prefers apps. Always have my phone. Nothing to lose. Yeah, if you've got the time, no worries. If you know how to use it. Yep. No, but if it's got a discount on it, sure, have the app as well. But I think Tap and Go needs to be there as well at the same time. Cool. All right. Almost at the end of today's show. Let's keep pushing for now. So now, BYD Shark 6, just quickly, I think it's been named Car of the Year, I believe. Yeah, I'll just share this news article here. I don't want to plug News Corp too much, but it's been named Australia's 2024 Car of the Year. So well done, BYD, I suppose. Well done. Now, just going on with the Shark 6, we've got delivery timeframes for early next year. So if you've ordered your Shark 6 between late October and November, mid-January, and then subsequently for later orders, mid-February and early March. So that's coming soon next year.
Now, there's a little bit of controversy off the back of this.
Okay.
I got contacted by one of our loyal viewers and listeners who has one on order on top of the Tesla Model Y. And that viewer shared with me let's just say the delivery time frame. So first they get this email, and then they get another one now saying something along the lines of mid-February for deliveries, and they're in that first sort of set off. I think they were trying to place an order on the very first evening of when
Okay.
the website crashed and stuff. So what's going on? Is it going to? So this says below is the current scheduled estimated arrival dates of vehicles into Australia. So they're saying mid-January the vehicles should arrive. Is it taking roughly a month to prepare the vehicles to get them to the customers that ordered it on the first night? So there's two different communications going on. So EV Direct, if you're listening, or BYD, confirm it with those that, the customers that really tried hard to place an order on the very first night. And it already looks like there's a few delays on here.
Yeah, in fact, I've just, breaking news, I've just got this message here from one of our viewers. There we go, an updated email there. Thanks to Carl. He just sent me a message on LinkedIn, Carl H. Doing this in real time. So here we go. Delivery window has changed. I've lost my window now. Where is it? Oh, here we go. So yes, you're right, Riz. 11th Feb to 19th of Feb for those orders. So yes, has been delayed slightly. Interesting. Anyway, we'll keep you guys updated as time goes on. But yes, delays do happen, unfortunately. All right. Let's keep going.
Where's the Shark's predatorial behavior? It should be getting here as quickly as possible. I also have heard just tonight, apparently the first ship with BYD Sharks has been dispatched out of China. So whatever that means.
Okay, so they've jumped off the deck and of the pier and swimming its way over to us via the South China Sea. All right. It'll take 2 months to swim here, apparently. Okay, Gary's saying port issues around all of Australia might be impacting sharks. Okay. Good to know. There's always port issues, right? Some sort of stink bug or something. Have to get through quarantine. All right, almost at the end of the show, guys. And just one more story about the Robotaxi, General Motors pulling out from Cruise. Sad to see, but obviously that business was not sustainable.
Is there anything General Motors hasn't killed yet? They killed the EV for the first time. They've obviously killed the local automotive market in Australia.
Yep.
Now we've got Cruise that is, I guess, no longer cruising. Nope. So it's interesting times.
Watch out, Cadillac. It just launched in Australia.
That's it.
Yeah, that's right. So sad to see, but clearly they're not doing something right, or something that Tesla can do better with their supposed cybercabs will be better than this. We'll see. Waymo, did you hear about the Waymo that was circling the roundabout 80 times? Did you hear about that on social media?
I've seen some stuff going around, but I mean, not that Waymo in particular. I do need to check that video out. So apparently that's happening. Also, Google's boss, can't remember his exact name, Surinder, has said this week that Tesla is leading the way in autonomous driving. And obviously Google owns Waymo. So, yeah, interesting.
Very interesting. Okay. All right. Well, almost at the end of our show, guys. Last one before Christmas. Speaking of Christmas, let's have a look at this. This is a pic sent in by Andrew from Wyler Vet in South Australia. And you can see his Model Y there being involved in a Christmas pageant down in South Australia. So looking pretty cool there. Thanks, Andrew, for that. And Merry Christmas to you all, everyone, at Wyler Vet Clinic. Speaking of which, thanks everyone for joining us so far. And we've got one more show left this year at the end of 2024. I think we'll make it the 30th of December in a couple of weeks' time, because next Wednesday is Christmas Day. Can you believe it or not? So we'll make 30th of December our last show, and then that'll be it. We'll do, might do a special wrap-up. Haven't decided yet, just to tidy up the year. But otherwise, Riz, thanks again for your recap of your China trip. Good to have you back.
Thanks, Tom, and everyone. Roland stepping in, always doing an awesome job. Good to see him at the Xpeng launch event. Just so much hype and so much activity happening right now. I think next year is going to blow our socks off.
Yeah, correct. So much happening, so many cars entering. All you need to do is look at all the ADRs being approved, entering the country. So lots to look forward to indeed, and lots to test, of course, in the new year. We're going to be busy, me and Riz. So stay tuned on Ludicrous Feed and follow Carloop as well on socials. Thanks, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. And it's like I said, last show of the year, 30th of December 2024. Don't miss it. It's going to be a good one. Otherwise, I want to thank our sponsors once again, Hankook and Carloop. And we'll see you all next time. Thanks, Riz. See you then. Thanks, everyone, and take care. Bye for now.